Hello, welcome back. It's oxygen not included again, and I guess uh I've got something here on my screen that I'm gonna show. Uh can't remember what happened the last recording, so I'm just gonna get right into it and try to catch up on some things that I changed. Okay, so one of the main changes that I guess the one of the simpler changes that I did is that I do have one more duplicate now, so that's just a minor thing. But another thing that is quite significant, even though it's a small change, is this right here. So this, as you can remember, never mind. I shouldn't assume that people watched the previous video. Anyway, this is my vent that gets all the carbon dioxide from my other buildings and from my carbon dioxide gas vent. And it places them in this enclosure for my slicksters to consume. But the issue is this is using a high pressure gas vent, and a high pressure gas vent only goes up to 20 kilograms before overpressure sets in. And as you can see, I have somewhere around 35 kilograms per tile. So how did I do this? Well, it's this simple. As you can see, I have like a small layer of oil that essentially is fooling the gas pipe into thinking there's not much pressure in here, because the crude oil essentially takes over the tile. As you can tell from or if you play this game, you know that liquids and gases don't consume the same tile or take up the same tile. So if there's liquid here, there's no gas here, even though visually there is. So that gas pressure does not apply on this tile where the vent is. It's a simple, I guess exploit, I don't know, or just abuse. I guess it's an exploit. But basically, as you can see here, if I hover my mouse over this specific tile where the gas vent is, the crude oil is at 1000 to 2000 tiles. If you're wondering why it does that, why it's going up and down, is because whenever gas goes out of a gas pump, it kind of like, I mean, gas vent, it kind of like deletes the liquid tile on it for a very small amount of time, but then the liquid comes back. But from what I can see, it like deletes like a certain amount of liquid, or I think from what I'm seeing here, it just pushes it to the side. So yeah, that's the thing. It pushes the liquid to the side so that it can release the gas, and then the liquid, evens out. Essentially, I could fill this with as much gas as I want. Overpressure doesn't matter. And the thing is, from what I remember, gas doesn't necessarily cause tiles to break. I think. I could be wrong. I might run into an issue in the future, but from what I can remember, gas does not. It doesn't have the mechanic that liquid does, where it can break tiles. I'll get back on that if it ever happens. And I don't remember if this was in the yeah, this is not in the previous video. This is another one. I basically made a transit tube access, or just a transit tube system in this main area, up all the way here, leading to this new project that I was building. So what's this big mess right here? Why do I have 5 steam turbines? Well, this is a project that is gonna help me accelerate my process of getting into space. The thing with going to space is you need a lot of steel. Normal refined metals don't work because you need to make steel tiles for it to handle the intense issues with space exposure and just space in general. Like rockets and all that. And the biggest issue is that, all the melting points, all stuff like that. The big thing with steel is it's like the first end game refined metal you have. It produces it's basically iron but upgraded with steroids. Gives an overheat temperature of plus 200 Celsius to whatever you're building it with. So generally speaking, you want to do that with whatever you're building in space, because meteor crashes and all that heat up the place, and durability issues. And number two, it's because bunker tiles and bunker doors only work with steel. At least that's the only material I have right now that can use that. I don't know if there's better materials out there. The thing is, I had this whole system here for making steel, and I still do use it to make some stuff like other metals and all that. As you can see, I'm making gold right now, but I don't have the pump working. Oh right, I forgot. I deleted this because I was double thinking if I should delete it immediately, but no, I still need it for making metals that I might need while I'm building this project. But as you can tell, as to why, I mean, as you can tell since I'm talking about this, this is going to be my new Metal Refinery area. So I built it ahead of time because this is the most tedious part. Is number one, making this big chamber, making all this cable, this wiring, and then trying to fill this up with as much crude oil and water as I can so that there's a constant pressure of steam, since I have 5 steam turbines working on this goddamn thing. Anyway, the idea here is that it uses, this is uses, keyword uses, not abuses, not like the gas vent thing. This uses a mechanic here that I completely ignored because monkey brain doesn't read. And essentially, if I go over here, and if I guess I'll zoom it in post. Anyway, I did not know this until recently, but apparently metals, when you refine metal, it adds a specific amount of heat to whatever you're using to cool it with. It uses a specific amount of kilojoules. Essentially, it changes per metal. So you can see on copper it goes 40, on gold it goes 13, iron 117, and you know, you get the idea. Essentially, this is how much power it takes to heat up the specific materials to the melting point. And if I over steel, or let me start with gold first. Heat is 13.2. It says that the amount of heat produced will be 6.3. Since and it also, if you see here, it says polluted water by 6.3. That changes based on what coolant you have. If there's no coolant inside the thing, it'll just say how much temperature will change if you're using just regular water as a coolant. 6.3. If I go to steel, this is gold because I started with gold since it's very low, so it can give you a baseline. 13.2. That equates to 6.3 degrees. That's a lot of heat already. If I go to steel, which is 117, it raises it by 56. And that's, as you can see, I've been making a bunch of steel recently off screen before I started building this thing, and it's heating up this coolant. Not good. Heating up this place that it's overpowering my AETN. But anyway, I did that, I researched, and essentially here we are today. How many metal refineries do I want to build? I guess 2, just so I don't like go overboard with it. Again, this is still pretty much in its experimental phases. So essentially, I guess while I'm building this, I'm gonna explain as to what the idea here is. This is essentially a beefed up, more, I was gonna say more primitive, but at the same time this is kind of like big brain, like it's bigger thinking version of this steam turbines that I've been making, like this one, the cooling system. It's essentially a better version of that because I don't have to use, well, I will still use an aqua tuner for cooling and all that, because I don't want, there's this self-cooling trick with turbines where you can keep things at a constant 94 degrees and not allow it to overheat, but I don't want to deal with this place constantly being 92 degrees, so I'm willing to splurge a bit in terms of power. So I'm still gonna make an aqua tuner. Yeah. Anyway, this aqua tuner is solely here for cooling the turbines, the refinery, and the transformers and all the heat that they produce. And the main heating element here is not the aqua tuner. Believe it or not, it's the metal refineries. And that's the same reason why I'm dumping so much oil here, is to submerge the pumps in oil to make sure that they only suck in oil. Because oil, as if I go here and go to iron and steel, since there's no coolant, it says that it raises temperature by 56 if water is used for the coolant. But if I use oil, it heats up by 100+ degrees or something. There's like a whole complicated thing that even I don't fully grasp. But for the most part, it's essentially, it has to do with the properties and all that of oil versus oil versus water, the heat capacity and the heat conductivity and all that. Too much to explain. Basically, that's all. That's the issue here. The idea here is that I am going to use the heat from the oil that is being pumped from here into the metal refineries as a coolant, and it drops it out here to heat up this place. And that's what's gonna heat up the crude oil, the steam, I mean the water into steam, and that's what's gonna power the steam turbine, yada yada, all that. And yeah, that's basically what I'm gonna try and build here. This is essentially my next step towards space, because I realized in the previous episodes that I haven't really been building towards space. I've been hesitant to use my metal refineries because I already had a very decent idea as to how hot it can make stuff, but you know, with this added knowledge about what it does, I'm like, oh, okay, that's hot. That's a lot of heat. oh, you want to see something weird? There's water here. That it's not getting into space. It's not getting deleted because there, as you can see, if you look closely in the very back of that, like through the water, you can see there's still some background to it. It doesn't say space. It's essentially protected from space. I'm assuming this used to be an ice block that just melted because it's hot here. Wait a minute, oh my god. I have to cancel all of this. Yikes. I get it now. It's not centered because it's not centered on this thing. Oh my. Ooh, I have to delete everything. It's bugging me. That's why I'm sorry I have to redo all of this. It's because if you didn't notice it, didn't catch it, I didn't center it on what is the actual center of this 25 long this 25 long thing. This is the true center. I went by this thing, which is not the right center. This is the right center because this is like the center of the you take 25 tiles long. This is the very center that arrives at 12 each, or some 13, I mean 13. So yeah, so okay, I'll be back in a bit. I get it now. Oh my god. Okay, so this is the best I can do to make it even. I don't know if it's gonna be even. There's some pipes that I haven't deconstructed yet, but this is the best I can do in terms of cooling. Oh my god, I got shovel eggs. Oh goodness, this is the beginning of something great. Okay. So that's 3 shovel eggs in the care package that I'm not gonna get immediately because I wanna make sure that they do it. I know they don't hatch instantly, obviously, but like I just wanna make sure. Anyway, do I have this set to shovel eggs? Yes, I do. Okay, so this little enclosure here from my previous episodes is the enclosure I made for shovels. Very cramped, I know, but that's not an issue. And actually, you know what? I'm feeling generous. Let's make it thicker, I guess. Yeah. I'm willing to splurge. I don't mind. But essentially, this is the enclosure I made for shovels. The thing is, I don't need to ranch shovels. They're pretty much good on their own. I don't need to feed them anything. I mean, yeah, they do consume some stuff, and they're gonna get hungry. But from what I read in the wiki, that's gonna be fine. And the best part about them is that they don't suffer from overcramping. So yeah, that's gonna be like a constant food supply for meat now. So when they expire inevitably, they'll be what do you call this? They'll drop their meat. The people will get the meat, and then they'll be replaced by the eggs that they leave behind before they expire. I know it's a bit morbid, but you know. What can you do? Did someone place it here already? Yes, they did. 3 eggs. Incubating. And I don't remember how long these take to incubate, but whatever. Anyway, I think my stuff up here is done. It's almost done. There we go. I forgot that I had to pump coolant into this place, but since there's already a bunch of crude oil in this enclosure, might as well use it, and I already have a pump, so this is like the shortest way that they can go in. I didn't want to build a pump to pump crude oil all the way down from my oil biome up here. This is like a long way down. But yeah, I'm pumping the crude oil in first, which is the coolant for the aqua tuner. I know that I said that the aqua tuner isn't the main heating element here, and it isn't, but it'll provide a bunch of heat still, as usual. And the coolant here is to cool this place. Ironically, it is heating up the place because the crude oil is currently at a spicy... it started at 85, but now it's dropping drastically to 26, 27... And yeah, it'll reabsorb its heat that it released immediately. So I'm gonna wait until this cools down. But essentially, as you can see, this is already a functioning thing, and that's the main thing that I need to start first. This is step 1. You know, it's you need to cool down the coolant first, which is crude oil still. And I can actually delete this now. And it's cooling down the liquid and reabsorbing the heat that it released initially. As you can see, it's like went from red to yellow immediately, and it's not going back to green. But this is the main idea, yeah. Now the main workload for the aqua tuner here is gonna be when all of these are on. The steam turbines. The Metal Refinery and the transformers, they're not gonna be much of an issue. And also, this is like the perfect place to build it. I didn't even realize, I just thought about building it up here, but I didn't have like any thought about where I was gonna build it. I just tried to find a spot. I didn't realize how brilliant of an idea it is here, because this is my carbon dioxide geyser, and it releases carbon dioxide at negative 51 degrees. And I don't have it enclosed in like insulated tiles, so the chill is just spreading here. In fact, now that I think about it, I should insulate it, but not this part. So the cold is like funneled through this direction down here. Instead of spreading outwards here, you know, it's cooling this place. But the thing is, I don't really need to cool this place. This is fine. The ice is melting and all that, that doesn't really matter. I have a bunch of insurance already, as I would like to say it in this game. But yeah, this is so that it funnels the cold here. Obviously, there's still this door right here, but that's not that big an issue. Anyway, let's see how this is going. It's already cooling down drastically. But... oh, right. I forgot one crucial component to this thing. Here is that I've put a liquid thermal sensor so that it doesn't freeze the coolant. as good as a coolant as crude oil is for this stage of the game. Oh, I don't want to use lead, it might melt. As good as crude oil is, aqua tuners are very strong that they can actually freeze whatever. Freezing point is -40, so I'll set it to something like 20, or I mean -20, so that at most it'll drop it by -14, as I said. So it'll go down to -34 degrees. It won't be freezing. So send green signal if above -14 or -20. So yeah, that should be good now. This will turn off the aqua tuner if it's anywhere close to -14. That'll go down this pipe instead and then go through the output so it doesn't clog. But yeah, there it is. That's the cooling system. And it's heating up the crude oil, obviously, but not much because of how much crude oil I put in here. But the main test is this. I'm gonna make 5 pieces of steel here. Oops, I didn't mean to make it forever. But that's the idea, hopefully. In the future, it'll be forever. So yeah. That's the main thing. Also, I want to put some automation here. I want to get a couple of duplicant sensors here and here. I want to automate light, furniture, lamp. I want to make it out of gold amalgam. Here and here. You want to power those. Oh, it's already powered. At least that one is. Automation. So this here is just so that they light up the place. And lit workspace is good because it essentially cuts the time that the duplicant has to do stuff. Oh. That's not good. There's water here and something broke. That means there was water in the coolants. Do you have water in you? Huh. I see only... Oh, maybe from the initial pumping because there's a bunch of water here. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Minor issues. We'll work on it as we go along. Anyway, if I go here... This pipe isn't necessary. Anyway, if I pause this... You can see the crude oil that was initially at 70 degrees comes out at a smoking hot 200 C. So that's gonna, well, not slowly, rapidly heat up the place. Okay, so it's not there yet, but I just want to come back to this because it's cool. It's taking so long for it to heat up because of how much mass there is in terms of liquid here, and how little heat there is compared to how much mass there is, that it's turning the water into steam, but it's immediately precipitating back into the chamber as rain because the chamber has not reached the amount of heat yet that would make it constantly stay as steam. But there's still some steam there, but I thought it's just cool to come back to. It's raining. Okay, this took quite a while. Oh my god, I don't know how many cycles passed. I literally had to alt tab every now and then just to not get bored waiting for this to heat up. But now, as you can see, they're all starting now. The steam has reached a certain point where they're actually hot enough. 125 degrees exactly, and they're all how much are they making? 243 to 43, so you know, roughly 250 each, rounded up. And then every now and then one dies because if you didn't know, steam turbines consume the steam, so minimum heat is like 125 degrees, right? So 125 degrees or higher doesn't really matter. What comes out is 94 degree water. consumes the steam. Anything above 125 degrees of steam, it consumes it, converts it into water of the same mass at 94 degrees. Always, as far as I can remember. So, essentially, it's deleting heat. So, I think 3 or 5 something turbines might be overkill. Or no. I think this much crude oil was overkill, but I don't care at this point. I'm committed. And yeah, it's actually working as intended. This is this is gonna jumpstart my ability to go into space and build stuff in space, because now I can just make refined metal as much as I want. Look at this. It's still as cold as I was when I was not working with it, you know, when the coolant started cooling the place. It's just as cold. That's how strong this cooling system is. And I thought the thermal aqua tuner was gonna jumpstart the heat rapidly. No, the steam, oh, took a while. And the thing is, you know, it's dropping water that's cooler. It's cooling the place because now the steam is 124 degrees or higher. The crude oil is 164 degrees or higher. It gets doused with 94-degree water from the steam turbine. It just cools itself. Look at that. Some stuff's not working again. So yeah, I might have to do some tweaks later on off screen maybe. Also, before I leave, another thing. This is naphtha. And in my previous episodes, I was like, when I first made naphtha, I was like, oh cool, this is the best, this is better coolant. And then I discovered crude oil and all that, like, had better properties. I discovered that. I was like, oh, well, like I have a bunch of useless melted plastic now, I guess. But then it hit me. Naphtha is the perfect liquid right now that I have for these liquid locks, because naphtha essentially has the same like liquid range for crude oil, slightly less. As you can see, freezing point -50, evaporation point evaporation point 538, actually better. Crude oil has -40, evaporation point at 399, but you know, this extends. If it does go to 399, becomes petroleum, which has a bit higher evaporation point, so you know, there's an extension to that. But the thing is, if we go in properties, thermal conductivity to specific heat capacity 1.69 for crude oil. For naphtha, 2.191 for heat capacity, and thermal conductivity is 0.2. So if you don't know what that means, essentially naphtha in terms of thermal conductivity is garbage compared to crude oil, and heat capacity means that it takes way more power to heat it up. So you're saying, you're probably thinking, why is it better than crude oil for liquid locks? The thing is, liquid locks are there to prevent gas from leaking, but also to prevent heat from leaking immediately by stopping the gas, especially in caustic environments like this one. So having garbage thermal conductivity means that it's not gonna heat up as quickly. It's not gonna absorb the heat as quickly from, say, if I open this door. It's not gonna absorb that heat, and if it does, it takes way more heat to heat it up. So if, say, I want to open this door, as you can see, it's locked now so that no one goes in there and takes the salt or whatever from the brine that I initially placed in here. Because, you know, brine was like some of the garbage liquids that I had that was, you know, consisted of water. If say I want to open this door and I want to get a bunch of temp shift plates going here, which I might do in the future. So if, you know, say I open that, I want to make a bunch of temp shift plates. This door opens. This is vacuum as well. You don't see it, but this is vacuum, so there's no heat transfer through here. Once this door opens, steam goes into this area, and then it connects and starts heating up through here. and through the tiles, but this is insulated tile. This naphtha essentially works like a liquid insulated tile. So that's brilliant. Oh my god, I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. But yeah, anyway, this is working. I might have to adjust some stuff because the crude oil is heating up faster than the steam is. But yeah, it's working. It's a success. I can make a bunch of steel. When I first when I first started this whole operation thing, once it was fully built, I was at 9.6. Look at where I am at. I'm at 8. I doubled my steel. And it's just gonna keep going as long as I keep it up. But you know, that's it for now. I guess I finally did it. I'm way above my recording time. And yeah, that's gonna be it for now. I'm probably gonna do a bunch of stuff like, you know, spruce up this place, put a bunch of furniture to make it better. And I'm probably gonna the reason why I talked about the naphtha is I probably am gonna open it, put a bunch of temp shift plates in the oil so that they transfer the heat much faster into the steam. But yeah, success. Yeah, that's it for now. Thank you for watching.